We're about to have a terrorist level threat, and we defeat it because a drunk girl mistook it as her stalker. Sometimes you just need to be confident enough that you can literally do anything. You know, that's probably one of the most deserved little slaps I've seen in some time. Yo, bad sex fest. Bad sex fest. Alright, so we got a lot to discuss with 2B Hero X episode 14. If you enjoyed the video, drop a like, share your support, subscribe if you're new around here, and Patreon is where those full live reactions and exclusives live. So, ain't gonna lie, this kind of changes everything. So, we're just casually enjoying Lolly's little arc, right? You know, she's kicking butt in her Neko Iron Man armor. Quite literally slapped the living shit out of DJ Disc Jockey over there, who completely was like, I'm doing one bad thing, but you're blaming me for another. I got no idea what's wrong with you guys. But then, by the end of the episode, they just, like, casually confirm aliens. Which, you know, okay, aliens, I mean, we got a lot of superheroes. Would that really change much? But kind of. So, back in the orphanage arc with Lucky Cyan, you know, they introduced the fear, right? So, like, up to that point, seemingly, which is a wild concept, they had trust values, but fear is what ended up being something that was new for us as the viewers, but now we know it was also new for these characters. They're like, hey, we really haven't seen that, which is wild to think of, because you'd think trust and fear go hand in hand, but I guess if it's always been in smaller quantities, they never really noticed something was amok until the orphanage went into a zombie apocalypse. So they've been studying it, right? They had it contained, they're trying to figure out what it is. And after our girl basically home runs this guy into the big test tube, basically the orphanage situation popped up again. But nothing bad happened there. And why is that? Well, one, we sent in Ghostblade to, you know, deal with shit, which, you know, props to him and his stalker ass. But also we confirm because she's holding on to fear, you know, Lolly is. And seemingly part of her armor was made from a metal that was found on the alien crash landing site. So now they know they can interact with fear and contain it way better. But the idea that, you know, her dad is pretty much bringing up the fact that, like, this could be a breakthrough. And it absolutely could. The idea of trust and fear, depending on how they go about it, with the fact that we already know with something like trust, people end up doing extraordinary things because of that value. With fear, you see the opposite. But there's no reason to think that science and medicine and all these different things could potentially be utilized in a far better way because of these systems. On the flip side, you know, it could also be used for very nefarious purposes. And, you know, there's been a lot of theories, a lot of speculations on who X is. And once again, no, it's not his arc, but X being him finds a way to always feel relevant even when he's not on screen. There's been a lot of theories. X is a self-insert for the author. The reason X's trust value is what it is because we started the show off assuming he was number one, and then our trust value gave him trust value. Pretty cool theory. Also, a big running one has been he comes from the future. X could also be an alien. X could be coming from the future because of alien technology. There's a lot of things at play now. But we thought we were dealing with some superhero world, and they went into this. And to be fair, I'm sure there will be some people who aren't okay with aliens being added to the story. They'll be like, wait a second, this is jumping the shark. I didn't sign up for this. They're trying to do too much. And hey, maybe I'll agree with them by the end of the show. But given the weirdness of this series, I'm actually here for it. I mean, people can say what they want about the last few arcs. I heavily disagree. The show has gotten more interesting to me. I will say, though, by the end of Lolly's arc, she wasn't my favorite. I mean, they definitely, when you introduce characters, I'm like, damn, you're going to make me fight. But no, I still really like Queen and Lucky Cyan the most. But I do appreciate that they're not sticking to the same structure that I thought they would. First couple of arcs, we thought every arc was going to end in depression. Then they quickly said, actually, there's going to be more to it than that. But the most interesting thing is that while, yes, the arcs are getting shorter and we're not focusing on them quite as much, we know Season 1's a prologue anyway, but the best thing is that rather than just being like, okay, this is Lolly's arc, they're focusing on Ghostblade. They're focusing on past characters we've seen in previous arcs because they're actually building the environment and the set piece. This is one big prologue. We're not supposed to look at this as like, oh, we haven't seen so much of this character, I don't care. That's fine. You're just getting to know characters. And some people don't like an abundance of main characters. That's why some people didn't like the show Ashura as an example, which is fine. Hey, you're entitled to your opinion. But it's not wrong for this show to go this direction. It's just a different formula than a lot of people are used to, because a lot of people are used to, okay, here's a 3 or 4 characters, we focus on them, and then we just like kickstart. This is like, no, this is a living and breathing superhero world with now an alien mystery attached to it and a whole bunch of systems that we need to learn about trust and fear and all that. And yes, by the time we get to season 2, that's when we'll focus on specific characters more to flesh them out, potentially kill them, eliminate them, whatever. And that's actually pretty cool. I like it. I will say, in terms of pure thrill and excitement, maybe Queen and Lolly didn't have the same wow factor. I mean, Queen had the fight, of course, but if we're looking at like emotional, like, I mean, the Lucky Sian orphanage arc, I mean, you had the Easel stuff, or then you had Moon's death, right? Like, yes, those are more impactful, but I appreciate that they're not just trying to say oomph, 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 dead, dead, dead. You know, like they're not beating a horse to death. They're not milking the cow dry. They are clearly going for a living and breathing world environment, and the fact that despite it being Lolly's arc, or it will be, you know, Ghostblade's arc, we're all bringing them together as a world rather than a single entity. Like, besides X, I mean, everyone else, you know, it's just to get to know him at a base level, right? And you know, the theory's been that Ghostblade was the stalker, and that was his daughter. Yeah, it's confirmed in this episode, like not explicitly, and you can't even say, oh, these are source readers spoiling. No, like there's a preview or a character trailer for Ghostblade, and it looks like a young girl similar to that. And I don't know what happened in, you know, Father of the Year situations, but that kind of looked like his daughter's room, and I think we've just been thinking he's a pervert, when in actuality he's just a socially awkward father who doesn't know how to re-enter his daughter's life. Either way, the fact that misunderstanding that Ghostblade Stalker was in fact the DJ, so he got this living shit slapped out of him, was quite glorious. I enjoyed this episode. I enjoyed this arc. I would personally say Lolly's arc, now that it's concluded, was probably my least favorite of the arcs. But the fact that my least favorite of the arcs has my mind racing, love her character, like that just says that the show's been an absolute banger. Like her Neko Iron Man armor. Excited to see what they're going to do going forward. Obviously, my most anticipated episode is still 24, because that's X's episode, and that's when things are really going to start getting answered, more than likely. Let me know your thoughts down below. Leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new around here, ring that bell, and like I mentioned, we got those full live reactions over on my Patreon, and hey, while you're over there, I'll also give you a video shout out. Alright, so today we got Little Joltik, Crazy Cards, Drew Stern, this one always kills me, Coom Snatcher, Thomas, Chris Beaulieu, Kevin Cav, Wendy, Thomas Koza, and we also have Robert Franklin. So I appreciate the support, everyone. Please take care, and you know, if you find any strange things in the woods, maybe don't touch it. Between Spider-Man and the symbiote and now this, aliens got me sus. Have a good one.